Okay, so this is the second part that I want to talk about in the Breakfast Nook at 9. And this is giving us more insight. This is again coming from The Battlefield of the Mind, Joyce Myers, the Amplified version. And it's titled, God is Always With You. Men and women of the Bible made this common decision when encountering difficulties or frightening situations. I will not fear because God is with me. They did not require advanced proof of success or victory. They simply believed they would not fail because God was with them. No matter how it looks, no matter how long it takes, no matter, like I said earlier, just say, God, I know you are with me. No matter our feelings, no matter our thoughts, no matter our anxiety, God, you are with me. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego must have been very frightened at the thought of being thrown into a fiery furnace, but they knew God was with them. When Nebuchadnezzar asked them if any God anywhere could rescue them from such a bad situation, they said, our God, whom we serve, is able to rescue us. Remember, that was spoken in Daniel 3:15 and Daniel 3:17. Later, when Nebuchadnezzar looked into the furnace, he saw not only the three young men were still alive, but also a fourth man who represents the help and the presence of God in their midst. That came from Daniel 3:25. Just as God was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and has been with many others throughout time of fear and crisis, including you, including me. You may not recognize it in the moment, but when you go back and you take a glimpse over your life, you remember this. You remember that he had to be with you. Because how are you still standing? How are you still here? How's your mind still going? How's this still happening? Only because he had to be there for you in your crisis, even in your fear. He is with you and me today. We can boldly face whatever circumstances come our way in our own strength. We do not have what it takes to be victorious, but we have God, and he is always more than enough. So many times, even if we don't realize it, we think that we're going at this we're trying to go in our own strength. It won't work because his grace is not upon us, right? The grace is not upon where God is not. Even though he's in there with us, if he's not a part of what we're thinking about, if we're not acknowledging that he's in there with us, his grace cannot fully cover us because it's just not him that's working. We're trying to work ourselves in our own strength in the situation. He's always enough. He's always enough. We might like some kind of proof that God is with us, but he challenges us to simply believe that he is. And it's not that it's not hard. That can be difficult sometimes. But remember what I said earlier. It's not because of a lack of trust, because you wouldn't still be reaching out to him. You wouldn't even be still trying to call on him or pray or whatever you're trying to do. Whatever you're doing to reach out to him, you wouldn't be doing it if you had any doubts that that he's asking us to believe. Not that we don't have doubts, but something is keeping you coming back. Something is keeping you reaching out. So that something has to be saying, this is a challenging time for me, but I do believe. If that's all you can say, that's all you can say. If you can't even articulate what the connection is or what you believe or why you believe, That's how you got to stay, because that makes the connection to be more, um, makes it more above the challenges. So she says, I encourage you to be a person of faith, belief with all your heart that God is with you and will never leave you. And again, I believe the fact that when we continue to seek after Him, we know this deep in our heart that He's with us. And obviously, He never leaves us. Otherwise, why are we reaching out to Him in every single season or every single situation? Why are we doing that? If we know that after that last situation, He left us, why are we reaching out to Him? We know He never leaves us. We know He never leaves us. So when we think about the truth, when we process that truth over and over, make that our thoughts over and over and over, the truth, and then speak it out loud, stand firm in it. Because remember, God spoke the word into existence. So it's also the speaking. So it's spoken out, because power of life and death is in the tongue. And so when you speak it out, you're speaking the life, which is actually coming back onto you. And so when we speak it out loud, it lets it become a vital part of our conscious awareness at all times. That's what we want to be. We want to be consciously aware. It doesn't mean we don't come against things. It doesn't mean we don't have the frustration of whatever it is. But it's the conscious mind that keeps going back. So you might get into a place where you're like very, right? But because it's a conscious of mind, it reminds you sooner to pull it back out so that you can get back into the presence of God. You can even stop what you were doing several times a day and say, I will not fear because God is with me. Let the power of those words energize you to push past your fears. Push past your fears. Fear cannot stay where faith is. You push them down every time you speak them. Again, it's not easy. And you got to be careful, because you don't want to feel condemned for not doing that all the time, or for not perfecting that by now. I mean, I've said to myself, are you kidding me? I should know this by now. I should be here by now. I shouldn't be in this place by now. And then I have to get reminded, humbly reminded. This is a daily walk. Sometimes for me, it's moment by moment. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, give me an IV of this stuff. So it's continually, involuntarily going inside of me. You know, we don't have that option. We have to keep it coming through our conscious mind. By speaking out against fear, we diffuse its power and renders it ineffective against you. See, Satan is the predator, and fear is a sign of weakness to a predator. Don't give him the satisfaction of thinking he has any influence over you. When you confront him this way, you will discover strength you never knew you had, a strength based on reality that God is with you. There's the key. A predator feeds on our fear, because that's what the enemy wants us to be, is afraid, not of him. Because I don't know that he's not after the fear of him. He's after the fear of the what ifs, of the circumstances, the faith, the trust. What am I doing? That's what he's after. So, in the name of Jesus, we are standing on the fact that God is with us. He's the fourth man in our fire. See you back soon to talk more about my story and how it all relates to Daniel chapter 1 and 3, as well as seeking, trusting in God. See you back soon. Until then, have a rest of your fantastic day. And remember, God is with you, even in the good times, even in the all of it's good. But what I'm saying is, even when you are not in a pressure point, or maybe you have a pressure point here, but the other things in your life is smooth, He's still with you. So, I'll see you back soon with Chat Out in the Middle with Sean.